Hey y'all, welcome to Humming Catfish. Today we're going to be making pizza dough. So put on your apron, get the oven preheated, and let's go.
Well, I laid down last night.
This is a pretty simple recipe, but there are three things that you may not have on hand. First one is double O flour, also known as pizza flour. I used to use all-purpose flour in my pizza dough, and once I switched to this, it made a huge difference. It gave the pizza that like chewy, crusty texture that when you think of pizza. It is more expensive, but I felt like the improvement and overall quality made it worth it. The second ingredient you may not have is diastatic malt powder. This is something you don't have to have. It helps the yeast ferment, especially if you're doing like a 4-hour proof, which is what I'm gonna do today. You're definitely not gonna get the full flavor of a 24-hour proofing, but this does add back some of what you lose with, taking 20 hours off of the rise. And the third thing that you may not have on hand is a good pizza stone. We're gonna be cooking this at 500 degrees, and the pizza stone helps because it heats up, gives it a nice bottom that's not soggy. First thing we're gonna do is proof our yeast. Make sure that the water's warm, but doesn't sting. If you put your finger in it, it should just feel warm, but not give that little bite. So to this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of the malt powder. Now I'm just gonna give this a little mixy mix. And now I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of the active dry yeast. I'm gonna give that a little stir. All right, you can set your yeast over to the side and let it proof. You'll know that's happening because it's gonna start bubbling. So now we're gonna measure out our double O flour into a mixing bowl. Now, if you have a mixer, that works great with this with the dough hook. If not, you can do this by hand. We're gonna do 615 grams of the double O flour. Before you add the yeast to the flour, add your olive oil. All right, so now we're gonna add the yeast to the flour. I'm just gonna pour a little bit, mix it around. All right, once you get your dough kind of pulled together, you can either put it in your mixer with the dough hook. The total knead time with the mixer is going to be about 8 minutes, or you can turn it out on a floured surface, knead it by hand for about 16 minutes or until you start seeing it pulling into an elasticity. Halfway through the kneading process is when I'm going to add the salt, because the salt can sometimes inhibit the yeast. We want the yeast to get in there with the flour and really get up there. So I'm actually going to put this on a mixer. Once it starts pulling together like that, then I'm gonna do it at the half speed. I think it goes up to a 6, so I'm gonna do it at a 3 for 4 minutes. If you notice that it needs more flour, like if the dough's climbing the hook or whatever, just add in a little bit of flour. Okay, the timer went off, so we're gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of salt to our dough. Okay, and then continue to knead in the mixer 4 minutes, by hand 8 minutes, and then I'll see y'all back here in a sec. Well, it'll be a sec for you. Never mind. It is time to turn it out onto a lightly floured surface. So you can see this right here has pretty good elasticity, but it's a little bit sticky. So I'm just gonna work it by hand for a little bit. So this is ready for the bulk rise. So what that means when you're talking about a bulk rise is that the dough, we're not going to separate it into two separate pizza balls yet. We're going to leave it in one big bulk where all the yeast and everything is together and it's going to ferment as one. All right, so put your dough ball into a lightly greased bowl. I'm just going to give the top a little spray of this olive oil and then cover it with the damp cloth. Next thing we'll talk about is where you want to proof it. You want to proof it somewhere warm. What my daughter-in-law does, and she's like the queen of sourdough baking, is she uses her oven light, just the light, and closes the door, and that's how she proofs all her breads. My new fancy pants oven actually has a bread proofing button, just crazy. So now we're gonna bulk proof it for 2 hours. So get the dough to its proofing spot and let it rest. We have just finished the bulk rise, so I'm going to get this out of the oven and we'll see what we got. Ooh, nice. We're going to lightly flour our surface and turn the dough out. So now I'm going to cut it in half, try to get as half as I can. Oh, there's such a big part of me right now that wants to get out my scale and weigh each section. Oh man, I know these are not the same. All right, I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more flour. I forgot my apron. And I'm just gonna kind of form these into balls. I'm going to place these on a lightly greased sheet. Ah, that one's a lot bigger. Okay, so now you got two choices. I'm always making y'all make a choice. You can either cover them and put them in the fridge and let them do their second rise for 24 hours in the fridge. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna have a slow fermentation, the flavors are really gonna build, and when you go to stretch your pizza dough, it's gonna be a lot easier. It's not gonna spring back. Or you can do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cover it back up with my damp cloth and put it back in the oven for a 2-hour proof. So I'll see y'all in 2 hours. Okay, the 2 hours is up. It's time for the review. Oh God, it looks like a hiney. It's got a nice, well, you can't see the bottom. There, maybe now you can see it. I hope y'all enjoy your pizza. I know I'm gonna be enjoying mine. Well, that's all I got for y'all this week. I really appreciate you watching this video. And if you like what I'm doing, I sure would appreciate if you hit the like button. And if you really like what I'm doing, I sure would appreciate if you considered subscribing. So until next time, I'll see y'all later. Get out of here, bug.